Hi, welcome to the Gist here on the Joy News channel on Multi TV. We are on channel 421 on DSTV as well. Now, what started as an evening to celebrate Ghanaian music, it started as an evening where we gathered to appreciate musicians who have done well from 2018 to 2019. The 20th anniversary of the Ghana Music Awards became an eyesore. Africa gathered to celebrate with us, but what they saw was one that threatened the democracy we've always talked about. It was one that threatened the peace that we've always acclaimed to have as Ghanaians. Two musicians, Shatta Wale and Stonebwoy, decided to bring to a stop for about an hour what started like a beautiful evening. For some of you who haven't seen that visual yet, let me give you the opportunity to watch what happened at the new dome at the Accra International Conference Center as Ghanaians converge to celebrate their musicians.
Reggae dancehall artists of the year.
So that's what happened at the Accra International Conference Center. Most Ghanaians were furious with a lot of reactions, mixed reactions for that matter. A lot of people thought that, you know, this was uncalled for. People thought that, you know, the blame game also started. Then the organizers of the awards issued a statement talking about the breaches in security. They admitted to some extent that they had not done their job correctly. Then one of the two also issued a statement. We're told that by before Friday, we'll know the fate of these two artists. On Thursday, we all converged at Alisa Hotel for the fate of these two. We are told, and I read what has been signed by the Ghana Music Awards themselves. It says that the board will strip off the two musicians of all the awards they won on the night. He also talks about how they've been banned, and I want to read that one because it says they've been banned indefinitely from participating in the nominations, selections, and performances at the Vodafone Ghana Music Awards. Then finally, we are not told who won the Artist of the Year. So I think it was three things that happened. So we are not told those categories. The Artist of the Year, the most popular song, have been annulled. And we don't know, even though I thought that they should let us know even if he had been annulled and all that. Then they had to return all the plaques they received on the night. And then the indefinite ban. A lot of people say it's been harsh. They think that Charterhouse is shooting itself in the foot. If these two artists are off your radar, how then do you talk about dancehall? Because this seems to be the big house, the powerhouses of dancehall in Ghana. We are here to have that discussion here in the studio of Joy News, yes, for that matter. Here in the studio of Joy News, because I work on Joy Prime as well, I'm almost confused. Let me thank Dila Jack for my costume. This costume was given to me by Dila Jack Shop. You can reach her on 020-8893-894. 020-8893-894 is the number of Dila Jack Shop where I got my dress. You can reach out to her. My hair is by S-Nash. I'll give you S-Nash's number before we are done the production. But Arnold Asamoah Baidoo is no new person to this network. I'm sure that if you're a follower of the entertainment space or showbiz space here in Ghana, you know Arnold Asamoah Baidoo, who comes across as a hard critic. Also in the studio with us is an ace producer. Should I call you a musician as well? Yes, because he does music as well. David Bolton. And every time I mention the name, and because of his color, people begin to look at David Bolton. But this is our David Bolton here in Ghana, who also has knowledge about showbiz and is a critic as well. So two of them will be joining us to do the discussion on the aftermath of the VGMA, especially the ban, the annulments, and all the punishment that has been meted out to these two artists, Shatta Wale and Stonebwoy. Before we go to them, let's hear Amanziba, who was the chairperson for these years, speak about that.
Both musicians are hereby banned indefinitely from participating in the nominations, selections, and performances at the Vodafone Ghana Music Awards scheme. Also, the two artists are hereby stripped of all awards they won at the 20th VGMA and are thus requested by the board to return all plaques in their possession to Charterhouse effective immediately. Furthermore, the two remaining awards announced on that night, unannounced at that night, that is Most Popular Song of the Year and the Artist of the Year, have for the 20th edition of the Vodafone Ghana Music Awards been nullified. The board of the VGMA is thankful to all stakeholders who helped to arrive at this aforementioned decision.
All right, welcome back. I'm sure you've seen all that, and now you get to understand how severe these punishments are per some people's recommendation. They need psychologists and all that, but I don't know. That's why I have two experts to talk about it. You're welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so I will first start by asking where you were when you had these punishments and what your reactions were. I start with you, Arnold, because you are the extreme.
Well, I was monitoring via Facebook Live because I couldn't be at the venue, although I sent a correspondent to go cover for me and for the website. But then I was monitoring on via Facebook Live. My reaction, well, it was expected with regards to the ban, but the other co-meanings that were given, for me, I was a little bit surprised. Yes. So
when you talk about the co-meaning, the stripping off?
Yes, I mean the stripping off, the call for them to return the plaques, and even the extent or the description of the ban was a little bit of a problem for me as well. Although I expected them to face some sanctions. Yes.
Okay, let's take your...
So it was a mixed feelings for me, although I was expecting it. I was also surprised with the outcome.
With the outcome.
Yes.
David, what about you? How did you get the news and what was your reaction?
I was actually there.
Oh, you were there?
Yeah,
I didn't see you.
I was looking out from the stage. I was on the left side.
Okay.
Yeah,
oh, no, you were
VIP.
at the auditorium during the day.
Yes, yes.
But you were not there on Thursday
No.
when these punishments were meted out.
I
So
thought
that's what I want to know.
Okay, no,
when you had the punishments.
I heard about it just as everybody else did. But honestly, I was expecting it. In fact, I was hoping that there would be a severe enough consequence for their actions so that it will deter, future reoccurrences of this sort of thing.
Was this severe enough?
I think it was, in terms of stripping the awards, I support that totally. In terms of the banning, I thought that was a bit extreme in terms of the indefinite aspect of it. I thought that if they had clearly said it was going to be 3 years, 5 years or whatever, at least then it gives some hope that after you've committed such, a disrespectful act, that there's some hope for reform.
I've heard people also say that indefinite could mean tomorrow.
Well, that's true. But then, you see, I think it's good that if the board of the VGMAs are clear so that they don't appear to be backtracking. So that if tomorrow they say, oh, that we've changed our minds, then it's like, were they serious about the issue in the first place? So I think if you look at sporting events, if somebody is caught, let's say taking drugs or whatever in sport, there's a clear ban. So you're going to be banned. Let's say it's your first time offense. You're banned for, let's say, 1 year in participating in future events, or 5 years. If you do it again, then it's a lifetime ban. You sort of thing. So at least as an artist, you know that, okay, fine, I've messed up. What I did, and I'm sure that they're both very remorseful.
Are you sure? We'll come to that soon. But Arnold, for you, you said that you weren't happy about the nature of the ban.
Yeah.
Why aren't you happy? Indefinitely doesn't suit you?
Well, like DKB said, I mean, indefinite. I've heard guys from Charterhouse talk about the fact that, oh, it's indefinite. It means even tomorrow we can I mean, that's crap. We all know what indefinite means. I mean, they are only using our minds with regards to English language. But if somebody says they've sanctioned you indefinitely, it's not tomorrow that they'll call you back. Let's be fair.
But it's okay.
I mean, we've all been through school. When they sanction you indefinitely, until you serve your punishment and they call you back 3 years or after, we know what it means. So, like you said, the problem
But that's school. This is music. And this is Charterhouse.
It is the same thing.
Indefinite school.
When we see, and there's a precedence. Let's see, there's history. When Shatta Wale was banned indefinitely, what happened? He had to go and beg.
Was that indefinite or
It
was it a 2-year ban?
There was no duration attached to that ban. There was no duration. And the problem is, when you look at the rules and regulations of VGMA or Charterhouse, the code of ethics that they are touting so many times over the period, it says if whoever, takes or brings their awards into dispute will be sanctioned. That's it. It doesn't. There are no specifications. There's no clarification. There's no description as to what kind of actions do you bring. You see, it's just bland and blank.
As to what your punishment will be.
You understand? And again, when you look at that quotation, it doesn't tell us who is supposed to level that sanction. Is it the organizer or is the board? Because again, if you look at their magazine or their procedures, the board has a mandate. The mandate is for them to actually select nominate and categorize songs. That's it. That is the core mandate of the board. It doesn't give them powers to sanction.
But these boards, like you said, they have the mandate to put together the selection, go through the selection and all of that. They did that, so they have every mandate to also
That's
sanction.
what I'm telling you. In their own documents, the board has not been given that mandate to level sanctions. That's why I sit here confused as to whether who is doing the sanctioning. Is it Charterhouse, the organizers, or is it a group of 15 people?
Let me read this to you. So this was one of the things we're given on Thursday.
Yeah.
And these are the terms and condition. Let me go to the second term and condition. It says the VGMA board has the right to dismiss, disqualify, or bar any artiste who abuses the scheme. The board or any of its members or the organizing body with or without any just cause or puts the brand in any kind of disrepute. Charterhouse Ghana runs an open door policy where all grievances can be channeled and resolved without any such invectives being held. So it's told you that the board has the right to dismiss, to disqualify, and to bar any artist.
The document I had, it didn't. Probably if you revise it.
Okay.
So that's
so
clear.
Okay, so that's clear. So like you bring my mind to something. Maybe after this happened, maybe Charterhouse has to revise it. But they told us though that these are documents the artist signed. That's what they told us.
That's good. So I mean, it's been cleared. That part has been cleared.
Okay, so it means that still you believe that indefinitely.
For me, you see, like DKB and I agree the fact that it was expected. I mean, for them to actually plunge their awards into that kind of a mess. It was expected that some sanctions should be leveled against them. And so the ban was really expected. But I was thinking it could be maybe one edition or two editions at most. You understand? You put a time frame to the ban. Because I'm looking at, listen, apart from they suffering the consequences, the organizers may suffer as well. The scheme may suffer as well. Because now you are talking about two big artists in the industry. When it comes to their genre, they are the two biggest. They have influence, they have following. And so how long are you going to entertain sidelining them from the scheme? For me, I think it will have, I mean, some repercussions on the scheme.
But one of the things that you think also that it will have a repercussion on the scheme if these two are not part of the awards for a while?
Maybe temporarily, but you'll be surprised how quickly the vacuum will be filled.
Exactly what Madam Theresa said, that there are a lot of young artists who are hungry, and so let's give them the opportunity. If these two are not in, we can have the young ones. But then again, people say, would it be a fair thing? Would it be fair?
I think look, at the end of the day, what they did, was it fair? Look, I mean, you just look at the situation. As I said, I was there on the night. We had, foreign dignitaries there. The British High Commissioner was there.
Yeah, he was.
We had ministers there. He actually had to be whisked out by his security detail. And that's how dangerous the situation was. People got hurt. When I actually escaped from the venue, and there was somebody seriously hurt being loaded into an ambulance.
Yeah, I think after they said there was a pepper spray, we still don't know what it was, whether it was pepper spray or tear gas or whatever that was sprayed. But then, looking at the composure of these two artists, and I'm coming to what happened after Saturday. We saw the organizers release a statement to show there were breaches in security and all that. Then we saw one of the artists also release a statement of apology. Then we saw a clarification days after. I like the way there's a smile on your face. What does that mean?
I think the whole situation has been handled extremely badly by both camps. In that, if you look at Shatta Wale's camp, his father is saying one thing, Bulldog is saying something entirely different. Shatta was saying something different.
Are these members of his camp, though?
No, but they're speaking on his behalf.
Has he sent them to speak on his behalf?
Whether he sent them or not, if my father speaks for me, it carries a lot of weight. His father actually said that he was actually coming up to sit with him and not going up on stage. You see the thing. So it's when you have conflicting statements being bandied around, it doesn't help the cause of the artist. The other thing I felt was that, look, if this issue draws out and drags out too long, they both pled not guilty, right? When we all saw what happened, I mean, how many phones were recording?
But these are legalities. Maybe their lawyers had advised them to,
Yes, but I think it's bad advice.
Well,
I'm not a lawyer.
Well,
I'm not a lawyer.
That is in court.
Yeah.
So we'll leave that for them to deal with.
Yeah.
Maybe by the 20th of June, we'll get to
Right,
find out
right.
what happened. But Bulldog, sorry, because you mentioned Bulldog, Arnold,
Yes.
and because they used to be in the same.
We are still in the
You're
same
still in
camp.
the same
Yes.
camp as Xylophone for Okrum. So since you're still in the same camp, one of the artists has not done his term with the camp.
They all have.
They all have.
Yeah,
okay.
so they are no more with Xylophone.
So you don't hold any.
Otherwise, you've been calling me. If you have I'm no more with Xylophone, or they are no more with Xylophone.
Okay.
And probably that is why you guys have not called to get the angle of Xylophone in regards to what's happening to your artists. What do you have to say about it? Yeah. So some of us are free.
Some of you are free from all the PR jobs, but like I asked him, the composure we've seen, and even yesterday on Thursday, before we even had this verdict, there was a tweet, a tweet to indicate that I wasn't interested in this award anymore.
I think Shatta was trying to play smart because I have the conviction that he might have had some news or some information that this is the fate that might befall him and his colleague, and so he had to act smart. And that's the way to go. Any smart person would want to jump before whatever would befall him, and so that was a smart move from Shatta Wale. But regardless, he still is facing whatever sanctions has been leveled against him.
Wouldn't that worsen the case?
For him tweeting ahead of the announcement? I don't think so. I mean, it tells us that he probably has sagged himself for what transpired yesterday. And so for me, I don't think it will really affect him in any way. His tweet before the announcement only tells us that he was prepared for it.
Prepared for it.
And considering the fact that he's been through that process before. You understand? 2014, he was banned. And so for me, I think he
Is there behavior that you condone?
With regards to what?
The tweets, like psyching yourself, like you can't be bothered.
That's him. That's him.
No, I'm asking you, is it something that you condone?
But I mean, I don't need to condone it. That's his lifestyle. I mean, we've come to understand that this artist, this is his repertoire with regards to his behavior. And so I do not need to condone. I mean, what he tweeted, did it affect you in any way? It did not affect me in any way. I'm not too sure if it affected Charterhouse. I mean, it's just a tweet that he does not want to be part of.
A tweet of intention.
Yes. I mean, for me, it's not supposed to be a bother for anybody. I mean,
not even Charterhouse. It should not be something David Charterhouse should consider when making or reviewing these their indefinite suspensions. Because you're organizing an award, the person says, I cannot be bothered, I'm not interested.
Yeah, well, for me, he's behaving like a chameleon. Today you're in, tomorrow you're out. So I'm getting the impression that he doesn't know where he stands in the situation, because 1 minute you're talking against the whole organization, you're insulting them, then you're fully in support. Now it doesn't go your way, now you're against it again, you're pulling out. At least as a man, you have to stand for your principles and stick by it as much as possible. So I don't think that it's sending a good message, especially with everything that happened. I mean, you've disgraced Ghana. This has become a national issue. It's not just about entertainment now. You've disgraced us as a nation. It was all over. You see the thing. It was being reported, internationally. So I think that, look, as someone who is such an influencer in society now, you have to take that responsibility and use it wisely. So I felt the best thing that both of them can do is basically be very remorseful, be very calm, be careful what information you put out there. Because right now, tensions are high. You can incite, anything can happen. A small spark can incite violence in a certain area that you're not even, expecting.
Well, let's take Charterhouse's response to that tweet. Let's see what Theresa, who is the CEO, Theresa Ayoade, who is the CEO of Charterhouse, and Niaite Hammond, who is a director, I hear, also have to say about this tweet.
Well, I'm not aware of that, but whatever we are doing is independent of the two. We are just reviewing them based on the actions of the night and the protection of the scheme. So that's all I have to say regarding that.
But because of this conduct, does he stand a chance? Because he's already said he doesn't want to be part of it again.
I think we'll review all of that as we go along. But for now, this is all we have to say.
That's a choice. Everybody has a choice. So I cannot hold him for a choice that he's made.
But would the board have used that against me? Should they want to reconsider the decision made?
Obviously, if somebody doesn't want to be part of something. You cannot force a person to be. You get me? So if he doesn't want to be part of the scheme again, I don't think the boss would force him to be.
All right, so now that we are seeing what they had to say, well, we'll wait to see what the verdict afterwards will be. It's indefinite. Arnold doesn't believe that it could be tomorrow. Some people think that it could be tomorrow. Some people say, don't be surprised if in 2020 you see both of them or either of them back on the scheme. But let's move away from that and talk about the implications this has, because you mentioned that, you know, the story has been carried internationally. I have heard from people say that their deals, these deals that they have, local deals, international deals, might be stripped off. I've heard people say that there are some states outside the country who are beginning to petition their governors that these folks shouldn't step foot in their states. Let's talk about the implications.
Yes. You see, these are some of the things that they would not have considered at the time. You know, it's going to have serious repercussions for their career down the line. I've heard talk of visas that are not going to be issued.
Whoa.
You know, for the artists to go and perform in certain countries. You know, and don't forget they're brand ambassadors. You see the thing, Stonebwoy recently signed a deal with Samsung. Do you think Samsung is going to be happy their brand being associated with firearms? You see the thing. So they need to be circumspect and really look at, you know, the damage has been done, but I think the way that they handle things going forward is going to do a lot to mitigate how we and the world perceives them. Because look, people make mistakes. In the heat of the moment, this thing happened. It's not the first time something like this has happened before, right? I mean, issues happen. What is important is how you handle it after that. You know, the world appreciates remorse. In fact, even the legal system appreciates remorse. You know, it has a bearing on sentencing and all of those sorts of things. And as Ghanaians, we are ready to forgive people's mistakes. That doesn't mean that there shouldn't be a punishment and you know, consequence for your actions. But it also shouldn't mean that this ends their career. You know, it would be very, very, very unfortunate if this has, you know, such a huge impact on their careers that they don't recover from it.
I don't, is it not far-fetched, the issue about stripping them of their deals? Now he's talking about visas and all that. It is not extreme.
Yes, I totally agree. I think we are over-egging the pardon in such a way. Because listen, we all admit that they messed up. They've rendered apologies, both camps.
You're sure both camps? I saw clarification.
No, but there was an apology. There was an apology in there.
A sentence of apology.
There was a statement of apology in there.
Okay.
That clarification. So we are still in the process of leveling sanctions. We have that from Charterhouse. I'm sure the law courts will also level theirs at the right time. What is this talk about? An imposition of a visa ban and they not being allowed to perform in other countries and all. I think that is stretching the matter. Nobody is condoning the action. Like I said earlier, we've condemned it totally. But come on. I mean, we all follow entertainment all over the world. There have been so many mayhem, mellies and other stuff in other awards, from the Source Awards to the BET Awards to whatever. I mean, artists, commotion comes, they go into it, they sanction who they are supposed to sanction. It ends there.
Won't it serve as a deterrent?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. But what
if you denied a visa to a certain
why would
country,
you want to
other people
for what?
Maybe other musicians would have to.
For me, it is stretching the matter. That's what I believe, because it is not as if we've not seen it before. We've seen it. I mean, there have been situations where in other places guns are drawn, fights break out all the time. They are managed. Once they are managed, the corporates are called to book, and that's it. I don't remember Red Cross ever facing sanctions for fighting with young Jeezy at the backstage of BET Awards, or Tupac facing sanctions for mounting the stage when somebody is performing at the Source Awards. You get it. So for me, I think
maybe these are cultures we are learning, and so because they do not want us to feel as though we can also go ahead with what we see in the West, these are sanctions.
See, that's a problem. We always talk about the fact that sometimes you do not want to pick stuff from the West. Sometimes you want to pick stuff from the West. It comes in a package. Pick all percon. You understand? Yes. You know, sometimes we ask like, oh, let's look at what they are doing at the Grammys. But sometimes let's look at what they are doing at the BETs. It's a package. For consecutive times, fights are broken out at the BETs. So how do they handle that one as well? Let's also see how they handle their disruption at the awards. You understand? Because if you are looking at the good side, look at the negative side and see how they worked around it. Nobody was banned from flying or traveling or some stuff like that.
Oh, it's happened.
Yes, but you see, that is not related to the awards. If Snoop Dogg is banned from going to the UK, it's because he was caught up with having some weed or stuff like that. It was not related to the awards. You understand what I'm saying?
But if the organizing body...
If Kevin Spacey is banned or is stripped off of his Emmys, it was because of some sexual misconduct, or it's not related to...
But the problem is, if the organizing body themselves are stripping you of things, haven't they created the path or given the opportunity to others to do to you what they feel like?
That's their problem. The organizers have done what they are supposed to do within the scope of the awards. Anybody else who wants to take a decision based on that would be their problem. That's their cup of...
For instance, the British High Commissioner was seated at the event. It could be his prerogative to say, these miscreants, sorry for lack of a better word, won't enter.
Good. So like you said, that's the prerogative of the British High Commissioner. It's not for us to actually dictate to the British High Commissioner what to do with the artist.
In this case, you think we are the ones dictating?
Yes, I mean, the British High Commissioner was there. You understand? He or she was in the building. If he figures that what transpired have some rippling effect on the commission, they take action. But our case is to actually tell the organizers it happened under a certain scope. It happened on a certain platform. That's where our dictation ends. I'm not supposed to go and dictate to the British High Commissioner what he or she should do to Stonebwoy and Shatta Wale.
Nobody's saying that. What we're saying is that these organizations, these countries, are looking at these issues themselves.
Yeah, the same countries also see what happens in their countries as well. They see. It happens even there more than it happens here. So, I mean, after the sanctions, after the castigations, I mean, these guys have shown some level of remorse. We are punishing them for the actions. Why would you want to stretch the matter by saying, oh, there should be a visa ban, we should stop them from going to the other countries to perform? And I think that's too much.
You think that's too much? So the communities who are calling for that, you think they don't have a right to?
They have the right to, but I disagree. I mean, I frown on such calls. You know. Yeah.
I'm sure that you hold a different view.
Oh, not that. I mean, I believe in forgive and forget. Is it a thing? Well, maybe not forget, but
because even Ghanaians that you talked about that are forgiven, I can tell you that we never forget.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
It takes something else, and then we'll get to remind you. Oh, is that not the guy who pulled the gun?
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. You see, and these sorts of things have a damaging and rippling effect. You see the thing. So it wouldn't be surprising if there was some kind of travel ban for a period of time from certain countries, particularly those that were part of the event. Part of the event.
And people have also talked about role models, how already people see the act. I was at the airport, and I won't mention any artist's name, and a group of artists were traveling, and there was this young man who ran to a well-known Ghanaian artist. The manner in which the father dragged him, it was embarrassing. It was embarrassing. I felt already there's a perception that if you do the art, if you're a musician, if you are into the art, you're some school dropout, you're somewhat, you know, and to have this happening. So the issue of role models.
It's very important. And you see, I think the two artists in question, I don't think they really understand the power and influence that they wield. You see the thing? And because, look, they are as influential as almost the president. You see the thing? In a lot of ways, if they position themselves in a certain way, their fans will automatically assume that, oh, if Stonebwoy is doing this or if Shatta Wale is doing this, then me too, I should do it. You see the thing? So that's where it's important. You're dealing with people who can be easily influenced and easily led down whichever path you choose to send them. So I think it's very important that when you become a star, someone that has so many fans, and in this case, it's even gone beyond a normal fan base. It's a movement. We're calling them militants. We're calling them nations. You see the thing? So it's.
Well, the militants are only the group he signed, but the SM is a movement.
You see the thing? So, but you know, if we're calling them, let's say, BIM Nation, for instance, you know, it has certain connotations. Yeah. A movement has certain connotations. You know, they're almost political terms. So you need to be very, very responsible in how you wield that influence that you have.
But there are people who are calling for the ban of these. Well, I see you shake your head.
No.
You don't agree.
Respectfully, I disagree with regards to DKB's description of the nations and the movement and all. Listen, we are in entertainment landscape. The fan is one of the most important, if not the most important figure in this industry. So fan bases or fan base are important as well. Every high-profile artist has a fan base. These fan base are the ones who project the artist. They patronize his works, they patronize his business or a business, they project the brand. So an artist on an industry having different fan base or fan bases, there's nothing wrong with it. Come on, Beyonce has a beehive. Beehive, they call themselves beehive. You know what the beehive is all about? The bees, when they come out, they sting you, but they call themselves the beehive. It's all about the understanding and the education and the edification. Once the fan base understand that this is showbiz, doesn't go beyond a certain level, we are fine. But for anybody to say, let's disband these groups, let's disband this movement, I disagree. Because the fans are an integral part of our business.
Absolutely.
So we shouldn't even consider banning these.
It's all about straightening them and letting them understand
how
that
do we straighten them?
But why would we not straighten them? How is it that Beyonce has a whole fan base and they are doing the right thing? They are not pulling guns.
Do you see Beyonce going on social media, insulting people and doing the sorts of things that...
But she has, that's what I'm saying. It's all about the understanding and the edification of the craft.
She's responsible.
So, which is by a leader.
Why not?
So how do you, that's why I asked you, how do you sanction them? Because he has to be from the head.
But why would you want to disband the group when you've not tackled the leader?
Okay.
You understand? Once you are tackling the leader, that's fine. I mean, like he said, it will trickle down to the following. But you do not disband the groupings. These groupings are the ones who hold the industry. So for me, I object to any call for killing any fan base or any movement.
And you think that this punishments that they have and the face that you're going through would speak to these fan base?
Why not? And that's what DKB said. Their actions now or in future would actually determine how we see them or how the fan base would perceive them. And so it's important what they do now. And that's why he frowned on the tweet from Shatta Wale, although me, I felt there was nothing wrong with it. So I agree that probably what they do or what they say from now towards the future will determine how their fan base, or even the entire industry will look at them.
We'll look at them.
Yes.
Now, there's been those who are calling for intervention from the presidency because, like, we saw in football when Asamoah said, there's been a lot of reaction, a lot of people saying different things. Yeah. So people are asking for the president to intervene. Do you think that this is something he should be concerned about?
Why not? Why not?
What should he come
But the
and say?
president, before, hours prior to the event, he tweeted.
Yeah.
Actually talking about how creative art sits at a very good place in our economy, and even congratulating or wishing the nominees well. So he's in tune as to what is going on. And so for me, if the president can come in and talk about the fact that they've been asked to bring back their plaques and they are being stripped of their awards, I agree, because that part I do not agree. You understand? So if the president would intervene, why not? Because he called Asamoah and Kwesi Appiah. He could as well call Shatta Wale. These two guys have been to the presidency before.
Yeah.
But
there are those who think that after the awards, he hasn't even said a thing to us. he tweeted before the awards, but after the awards, he hasn't said a thing to us.
You see, the president has ministers who represent him.
So what we have from the tourism minister should be assumed as coming from the presidency.
But the minister has said that they will be called.
She didn't say the president will call them.
No, it doesn't need the president to call them. Because the minister is in charge of that sector. You see the thing.
But
so
there's a sports minister, isn't there? There's a sports minister. But he went ahead to call Asamoah Jan, even via telephone. And so it tells that maybe we don't really matter, even though there was a tweet on the night.
Probably
we matter.
We matter. I'm sure the call will come.
The call will come. Anyway, then also back to what you talked about, being stripped of the awards. People say, look, why is Charterhouse behaving like an autonomous body? Because this is the argument. You ask people to vote for these people. People have spent their money, and you deny them, the opportunity to know how their vote went by letting them know who becomes the artist of the year, or who was the artist of the year, by letting them know who won the most popular song of the year. You deny them that. Fair enough. Now you deny them also what their hard-earned money has been able to get these artists, which you've already awarded them.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, the public does have a point that they were encouraged to participate in the event, and their vote mattered to a certain extent, and they spent money to vote. Yes, but see, that doesn't mean that. Look, if you mess up, that doesn't mean just because somebody spends money. For instance, if you buy your ticket to go and fly to London, you get on the airplane and you start misbehaving, they'll quickly take you off of that airplane. You will not get a refund. Just because you've bought the ticket, does that mean that you can do whatever you want and expect to fly to London? No. There has to be a consequence for your action. I mean,
at the expense of the fans.
Well, look, they knew they have the fans. They should be responsible to their fans. You understand? You can't just do anything you want and get away with it. And I believe that the reason why the president maybe won't comment on this directly is because what they did was a criminal act. You see the thing, Asamoah Jan deciding that he's not going to play, that's not a criminal act. So you don't condone criminal acts. You see the thing. So this has to be dealt completely differently to the way that the football issue was dealt with.
Arnold, do you also agree that...
Yes, I do not agree. And I would want to try to spin his example or his analogy more with the British Airways thing. If indeed, if you buy a ticket and you are flying and you misbehave on the aircraft has every right to throw you out. We all know this. However, if the aircraft is owned by British Airways and the public, and if British Airways had made it known to the stakeholder, which is the public, that if somebody should misbehave, this is the action we as stakeholders are going to take, is allowed. But because British Airways owns the aircraft, they have every right to do what? Throw the person out. In this case, the public, the academy, and the board are the determinants of who gets what. And so if there's a decision to be made in regards to stripping off somebody's awards or calling somebody to bring their flags back, we should be made aware. All the factors that really go into that determination should be made aware of that decision. Why am I saying this? This thing that you read, the VGMA board thing, the public is not aware. Are they not stakeholders? The academy, I'm a member of the academy for the past 10 years. I'm not aware that this thing is only for the board. And so for me, I think it is not right.
Maybe there hasn't been a reason for them to make it public.
Why not? Why not?
You think everybody should know?
Because you see, like I said earlier, the mandate of the board, until you read this one, which is in their magazine, the magazine that they even gave out on Saturday, is for the board to actually select, collate, nominate, and categorize. And that is why when the board is banning somebody, the ban is limited to the person's participation in the awards. It doesn't go beyond stripping the person off the awards or calling back the plaques. Because they know that decision does not only lie with the board, it lies with the public and it lies with the academy. So for me, I think that decision was really uncalled for. Again, I heard this legend making an example on radio this morning about Kevin Spacey being banned by the Emmys because he won a lifetime award in 2017, and so he was stripped off because of some sexual misconduct. See, the difference is the Emmys has no public participation. The Emmys is an academy formed by experts. So when they decide that, okay, we are forming our own awards, and so we have the right to actually strip, ban, or whatever it is, there's no public participation. In 1990, the Grammys, the Academy for National Recording Artists and Sciences, they banned Milli Vanilli. Why did they ban Milli Vanilli? Because there's no public involvement. So the public cannot come up and say, but why did you ban these people? These are idols. They had the right to ban the group because they have the awards. This is different. Because the public has a stake in there, because we are stakeholders, we need to be involved. So
people who are asking for a refund are justified?
Well, some way, somehow, but that one, how would they get their money?
That's the thing. How do we even know that?
The point is, they should have considered this before. They should have considered that the public and the academy, because me, I wasted my time. I used my own fuel to drive to wherever to vote.
So is that not the reason why or is that not the reason there shouldn't be a refund? Because people like you wasted...
I'm concerned about the fact that they did not factor in our input when they were talking about stripping. Because
so the academy should have been consulted as well. Maybe they didn't have enough time to do all those consultations.
Then that's bogus. Then that decision is bogus. Because if you do not have enough time, you do not come up with such a critical decision. When you do not have enough time to actually peruse through or, check with every stakeholder and see, is this fine?
So you think that it was a hasty decision?
Yes, for me, I think they're stripping off and they return the plaques. They return the plaques that they should forget. I mean, let's be frank. You go to Shatta Wale's house to go and collect the plaques. Go ahead.
So they won't respectfully, you think they won't respectfully
I heard George. You know what George said yesterday on Peace FM? But we've told them, if their own conscience allows them to bring their plaques, boy.
No, but I think, isn't that part of the part that says you will be recalled based on their behavior?
No problem. They should go and take.
Anyway, for somebody who is not interested, if he doesn't return the plaque, it means that he's already still.
Why would you hold on to the plaque? Because it's just a constant reminder that you don't own it anymore.
Okay.
Is it a thing?
When you keep it in your house, right?
Why do you want to hold on to it? It makes no sense.
It makes no sense when you keep it in your house. But these are thoughts by the Musician Union of Ghana on this. People have been asking, what has Mzgee got to say about all that is happening? I need you to know that the previous president of the Musician Union of Ghana and the current or outgoing president of the Musician Union, no, it's not outgoing yet, we haven't done the election, and the current president of the Musician Union of Ghana are both members of the board of the Ghana Music Awards, and here's what they had to say.
I would not say we have overlooked it totally, because there have been few times where Mzgee, Charterhouse and others have called to try to patch up the two. The only unfortunate thing is that we couldn't imagine that it has gone this far, that people will walk armed. That is where we didn't think it would go, because there's artist rivalry in every industry. But it is up to the artists to make sure they don't allow that to move them into action. Unfortunately, in this case, it looked as if the artists went a little bit beyond. And I believe the step we've taken as a board will help change some of these things.
The two are mature musicians. They could decide to opt out of Mzgee and do whatever they want to do. The law must deal with them, because again, these actions that were taken by these two gentlemen, Shatta Wale taking the law into his hands, walking upstage when it was not his turn to be upstage, no matter the reason, considering that this was live TV production, I mean, I feel he didn't have any business going up that stage. Stonebwoy overly being provoked to the extent of wielding a gun, brandishing it, and it's not right, and at no point should we condone and support it. We condemn it absolutely, and should it ever happen again, I think we will condemn it over and over and over, and we pray that this will serve as a strong deterrent with the actions we've taken today as a VGMA board. It should serve as a great deterrent to any musician who is even dreaming of plying such a route.
All right, so we are wrapping up now, but before we go, the final thing is, how people think, again, continue from where we ended before the break, or before we went to listen to that tape. Why can't we know, even if you're annulling this result, why can't we know who won?
I presume that the two people involved were winners of those particular
and this is how Theresa puts it. She says, it is true, either of them won something. One of them won something. So it could be that one person won both awards. It could be that either of them picked.
Exactly. So if you're stripping them of the awards that they've already been given, why would you then go and announce that, oh, they won this, but we're stripping you of this sort of thing? So it's for me, I think they made the right decision. They don't want to incite more controversy. So I think the best thing is just to not announce.
Arnold, do you subscribe to that?
Well, I do not, but it makes some level of sense. Because, see, you are stripping them of the awards. And you are now telling us that these two people are winners of these two categories. So what sense is there in announcing it? But I also believe it will not spoil anything. This controversy or that, I mean, Shatta Wale, when it is announced, or if it were announced yesterday, I'm not too sure Shatta Wale will walk all the way to Stonebwoy's house and say, listen, I hear you've won this, so I don't agree. You understand? It's for the benefit of those who voted. It's to show respect to the people who actually expended their money to vote. It's just an announcement. Oh, okay. So based on the votes, this person won the Artist of the Year. This person won the Song of the Year. But by virtue of the fact that we stripped them off, it is annulled. It's as simple as that. So we go home to sleep knowing very well that, okay, the vote, this guy won that. Simple.
And there are people also who thought that if you are annulling them, why don't give it to the third person?
Well,
rather than say we don't have any winner.
That's also another school of thought. But then that could also drive negative publicity towards that person, because you have this whole fan base, two strong fan bases. You could rather hurt the,
most importantly, the issue has to do with the procedures of the music awards. Because if, like DKB saying, if these things were outlined in their processes, we will not be sitting here battling with our minds as to, you understand? You sanction, you specify the level of sanctions, then you even tell us that, okay, if this person is not there, this person is in line to take over. But we do not have it. So it's also a learning process for even Charterhouse.
Yes.
For them to actually revise their processes and their procedures.
And Obwa thinks that we have over-pampered Shatta Wale. He says not only the awards, Ghanaians in entirety have over-pampered Shatta Wale. And this is because of the remarks by people that if he hadn't stood and approached the stage, we wouldn't be having all these conversations.
That's true. I mean, look, there's the whole cause of this action was Shatta Wale deciding to get up and go on stage. If he had sat down coolly, he could have stood up and applauded. He could have tweeted. He could have, there were better ways to handle it. If he had even gone up alone, I doubt that he would have been stopped. He said, but he went up with a whole entourage of people. So I think it was just handled badly. I don't think necessarily he had the intent to cause the commotion that he caused, but the thought behind it, he didn't plan it properly, and I think it just got out of hand. I don't think anybody wanted this to happen. I don't think so.
Arnold seems to be
let's be frank. Obwa is not serious. I mean, you are head of a union that has these two artists in there. I mean, you should be seen or heard trying to speak reconciliatory language. What's this talk about the fact that we were pampered?
Well, he says they've called both factions.
Listen.
Or the factions.
Did you see the video? Obwa was, I think, on the front row or something. He was running. He didn't do anything to stop.
He had the opportunity to speak.
He didn't do jack.
And he said that was the opportunity to have said anything.
And you know what upsets me about his commentary? The fact that he's blaming everything on Shatta Wale. Yes, we admit he shouldn't have gone. But where was the security? Was he not in the auditorium? Is he not part of the board?
He is.
Yes, he's part of the organizing committee or whatever it is. What was the security? Did they not allow Shatta Wale to sit amongst the crowd? Were they not aware that he moved, as he was moving the stage, he was throwing chairs and stuff like that? He's not even blaming Charterhouse. He's not even blaming Charterhouse for the laxity in security and safety. He's blaming Shatta Wale.
Maybe because they have talked about the breaches.
I mean, come on.
Maybe because they've talked about the breaches.
He should sit up. This kind of commentary will not help anybody. It only incites one party over the other.
The way forward, we are going. What's the way forward? You think that people say that okay, this is okay, and we're going to see a change. There are people who say, look, nothing is going to change. The attitudes will be the same if you invite people after indefinitely suspending them and you bring them back, it will be the same. These are people who are demigods.
Right, right. Well, honestly, I think the industry is never going to be the same again. I don't think we'll be in a position where we allow one artist to have so much influence over his or her fan base to a negative extent. I think, as we said, it's very important. Without the fans, there'll be no industry, right? But there has to be punitive action, and then the industry.
This is not enough.
We're not there yet. Don't forget, there's a
a
case
legal
going on.
aspect of it.
There's a lot. There'll be further repercussions.
And even with Charterhouse, they're saying they will press charges as well.
Exactly. There'll be further repercussions. I mean, you see, it's opened up a can of worms. It's a Pandora's box now, because there are all sorts of other things going on in the industry, which are not necessarily right in our cultural context. And I think this is going to open up the discussion in terms of song lyrics, in terms of some of the things we do in the industry. There'll be a certain level of self-censorship that will come into place as a result of this.
Arnold, do you agree?
It will pass. I mean, forgive my blasphemy, but even Jesus came, died, and went back to heaven. It passed. So this issue would pass. I mean, tomorrow we'll go back talking about fuel hike and electricity bills being. This is Ghana. Everything has a season. But I believe it will cause some changes, especially with the organization of the awards. Security, safety, health, related activities and all. And I believe the artists would also change as well. Probably how they look at their security apparatus, their hangers-on, who they allow around their circles and all. I totally believe there will be some changes instilled in the industry. But of course, it will pass and go.
Well, that's all time will allow us here on the Gist on the Joy News channel. Thank you so much for watching. You heard Arnold Asamoah Baidoo, who is an entertainment critic. He's the owner of entertainmentgh.com. So when you see any publication, he always has an alarmist caption before the real caption comes. He will say, move on, or say, fire, or jail them. When this thing happens, say, jail them with a hyphen, but that's his blog. It's a credible one for that matter. And also, David Bolton is a music producer, musician, and also a pundit in the circles. My name is Mzgee. Thanks so much for watching. And once again, shouts to Dealer Jack Shop for my outfit. You can reach Dealer Jack on 020-8893-894. That's the number to reach Dealer Jack Shop on if you like this outfit. And thanks to S. Nash for my hair. She can be reached on 0244524151, 0244524151. Have a good evening and thanks for watching.